John, how are
Hello.
you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm glad we finally managed to do this after a 1 week delay.
Yes, indeed.
So
Yeah,
sorry, that was my
it's all
fault. I
right.
do apologise. So what's going on? How's the start of the year shaping up?
Start of the year's been good. Um, I've I've got some show stuff that's come in, which is really good. Some depth work on a few different things. Just started a run on a new show, which is good. Did the first one on Monday actually, and then it's the schedule's pretty full on this month. Good band.
Good.
So like a Temptations
Okay,
show. So it's nice. Yeah, I'm enjoying that.
that's
So yeah,
nice.
that's keeping me out of trouble
Out of trouble
ish.
or in
Well,
trouble?
in trouble more.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the Temptation stuff? What's that like to play? I imagine that's a lot of backbeat. Jack, jack,
Uh,
jack.
yeah. There's a lot of I mean, it's quite. Then it goes
Yeah.
off into the kind of 70s and 80s
Hmm.
and disco-y to a point. So yeah, so it's quite varied.
Yeah.
You get to kind of dig in, to have a couple of nice little solos and things
Cool.
like that, which is
That's always good.
Which
What are
is
you
good.
using live now?
Live, well, I mean, I've been using Kempers for years and years and years, but for this show, I just decided to change it up a little bit. So I've been using, I got one of the Sir PT15 amps, which has got the built-in IRs,
Okay. Yeah.
stuff like that, and I used that. It's the first time I used it live on Monday, and it sounds great. It's really, really good. And it does make such a difference. It's better than using modelling stuff. I think it just responded a lot nicer.
Yeah.
I've been doing some stuff for name check Dan Booth, who's wonderful. Been doing some stuff on the Drifter's Girl for him, and
Yeah.
there's an amp in the pit for that, which is quite rare. There's a Hampstead.
Yes,
There,
I
and
did.
that kind of inspired me. Oh, yeah, you sat in on it.
I sat in. I sat in.
Yeah, yeah.
Or just I think it's just before Christmas. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that's a
that
lovely look.
inspired me to actually use a proper amp. It's not mic'd up. It's just literally that you take a line out of the head, and
Okay.
you've got the impulse responses built in. But it just sort of inspired me to use something proper, if it makes sense. And it plays really nicely, and it feels real. As opposed to the modelling stuff is great,
Yeah.
and I love Kemper stuff, and I've used Kemper stuff for many years, and I won't say a bad word against it. It's really, really nice. But when you play a real amp, you notice that you're playing a real amp.
Yes, I had a chat with someone. I think it was last week or the week before, and he said, "Yeah, I use Kemper stuff." I don't know. Do you know Ricky Glover?
Yes, I do know Ricky. Yeah,
Yeah.
we went to college together.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I had Ricky on, and I said the same thing. I said, "Yeah, I mean, the only modeler that I used was the little HX Stomp, just a little scaled down version of
Good
the
stuff.
Helix thing, and it's fine. It works. It works for everything that I need it to do." And I just said, I just miss the sound of air being pushed. And he said, "Well, I use one of the Kemper foldbacks."
Yes, the
like,
cabinet things.
And he's like, "Yeah, that makes all the difference." I was like, "Oh, so maybe,
The problem with those is you just can't get them. I just can't get them. You have to import them from Kemper in Germany, I think, and
Okay.
it's just a bit of a nightmare because I was going to buy one. I've played through one before, and they are good. They are really good.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I just like I like playing through a proper valve amp, really.
So
And,
is it Shure, the PT? I never know.
PT15, yes.
Shure?
Sir. Yeah.
It's every time I go to spell it as well. It's like SUHR No. So how many IRs does it have? Couple?
I don't know. It's got there's four banks of four, but you can load in more and stuff like that.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm just using the stock ones.
You found one that you like and you're sticking with it.
I've just gone with the ones that Pete Thorne programmed into it because he's Pete Thorne and he's good, so he sort of knows what he's doing. And I was like, you know what? Let's not mess around with that too much. I'm sure if I could be bothered, which is a thing, I would delve into it and open it up and do this and plug it all in and go through everything and kind of sound check everything like that. But I mean, it sounds great, to be honest. The clean channel's very Fendery, like a deluxe reverb thing, but without reverb.
Yeah.
And I only use 2 channels on it because there's 3 channels. But the second channel, I only use a couple of bits for, but I'll kind of set it up as a Marshally type thing. So, you've got the kind of switch. And so most of the stuff's on the Fendery type channel. And I've got the HX effects, which is great.
Okay.
So that does all my reverb and my modulations and So I need channel switches as well between the first and second channel. And I got one of those Sean Tubbs tilt pedals. The two one that's really nice. It's really, really nice. Know that. Yeah, it's not like a kind of Marshall in a box type thing that you usually get with those overdrive pedals. It's very Nashville-y, I suppose. Okay. So it's that kind of like you put it on and it's when you're playing single notes, it's that kind of is it clean, is it overdriven kind of sound, which is nice. Right. It just fattens it up a little bit. And then when you dig in, it does actually start to break up a bit more. So it's very amp-like in that way, which cool. I think is what he was going for. I mean, Sean Tubbs is ridiculous anyway. So, if he's put his name on it, then it's going to be good. Yeah. So using that stuff. And I'm actually using one of the classic antique HSS guitars, and that's put in nicely as well. Okay. I'm not. I don't just play Sir stuff. I've got
You're not endorsed.
But yeah, I'm not endorsed. But I mean, if they're watching, then please, it would be great. Yeah.
I found that I looked at getting one of the Sir guitars about 10 years ago, and I kind of looked at it. I was like, all right, they're about $2,000-ish, bit of change or bit more. I had a second child, and I went, right, okay, so I'll shelve that.
Yeah.
I looked at them the other week. They're about $3,000 now.
They're insane. It's absolutely the one that I've got. I got secondhand.
Yeah, and even second
1,900 quid. Yeah. But new, it's 3,200 quid. Yeah. And that's, I mean, it's insane. The price of gear now is mental. It makes it almost unobtainable for people when they're starting out, unless you've got money. And I mean, if you're just starting out as a working musician, what you don't have is money. Right? That's what. So it's really difficult. So you've got to kind of. But I mean, gear's not everything. I mean, you can make a bad guitar sound good if you play it nicely.
Yeah, I mean, some of the I played one of the Squire Tellys, one of the Butterscotch Squire Tellys. Something or other it's called, I can't remember. It's about $250. For a $250 guitar, I could take that out and gig it.
Yeah.
Maybe swap out the pickups. Maybe take it to a luthier and just file off just the edges of the frets because they're a bit sharp.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, a lot of them you can make work for you. The Sire stuff is really good as well. I don't know if you've come across the Sire stuff.
No.
But Larry Colton's got a model on. So I mean, again, if Larry Colton's putting a model,
he's put his name to it. Yeah.
Then and I've got one of the basses, which is a Marcus Miller one. So they've got some decent names sort of endorsing them, and they play really nicely as well. Yeah. And they're like 500-600 quid, which isn't a massive. Well, I mean, it's still an amount, isn't it? But it's not. Yeah. It's not $4,000, which is what Fender custom shop stuff is going for now.
Which is ridiculous. Go on. I was just going to say that I think for the budget range for people starting out, I don't think you've ever been able to get as good a gear or as good a guitar for the price. Like the old Yamaha Pacificas are still like a road horse guitar.
Absolutely, the Yamahas. I mean, but they're like kind of that next step up now, aren't they? They're like sort of 250, 300.
No, you can get I think it's an 012 pack for like 180, 190.
Really? Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, so the East Coast ones that have just come out as well are really good. I think they stuck them in Guitar and Andertons.
Yeah, I was wandering around Andertons last week. They look all right. I didn't get to play one, but I know.
It's dangerous. I mean, any guitar shop is a dangerous place.
I know. I saw one. They've got the Roland JC Chorus amps, and the price tag was $10,000. I said to the guy, "Is that really $10,000?" He's like, "No, we just put it there. You can't buy it, but we just put them here." Right. So, God damn it.
$10,000.
But anyway, those are legendary amps. Those things. They are. Yes. So, what shows have you got coming up? You said you picked up a couple of shows this year.
Show-wise, I mean, I'm doing obviously Drifter's Girl, sitting in and depping on that, it's a great play. It's a great band. Yeah, you've sat in on it.
Yeah, I was trying to follow the charts when he was playing. I was like, this looks pretty fun. And it is. The other thing that I didn't know, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the other thing I didn't know about pit musicians, because I'm quite new to it, is I was always under the assumption that you always play what's on the chart. You always play the dots. You always follow it. And Dan was like, I'm about 60% off it.
Oh, absolutely.
I was like, really? He's like, yeah. And so I'm using most of it as a guide now, and every show I get a little further away. And if the MD wants to pull me back, he can pull me back.
Absolutely.
I was like,
that's the thing with pit work though, is a lot of it is interpretation. So you get your dots, and I spent so much time when I was younger stressing and worrying about getting every single note right and doing this and doing that. But the more I sat and did it, the more I realised that that's not what people necessarily want you to do.
Yeah.
And it just adds unnecessary stress into the scenario, which is already quite a stressful situation anyway. But yeah, it's a lot of its interpretation, and it was quite nice actually because over lockdown, Adam Goldsmith did a sight reading masterclass thing on Zoom, and I kind of joined in on that, and it was good because he was like, "Oh yeah, a lot of it I just interpret and sort of play my way," and that was really nice because I was like, "Oh, that's what I do." And if Adam Goldsmith's doing it, you're like, "Okay, all right." So that's kind of the thing that you want to go through your experience and be like, "Right, what would a guitarist play here?"
Yeah.
I think you were saying you were doing. Was it Legally Blonde? You've got.
Yeah. Oh mate, Joe, I'll tell you what. I just finished going through the whole pad start to finish.
It's hard.
Mate, it's
really hard.
Such a bitch. I'm glad you said it. Do you know Alex Ward?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was speaking to him as well because he's doing I Should Be So Lucky. And he said the same thing. He said it's really just hard. And I was like, yeah. And I sent him a picture of one of my pages. I was like, look at this. This is a roast. He's like, yeah,
randomly, I've actually and I've just moved house as well. I was digging through my old stuff and I've actually got an old score of it as well. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to test you on it. Don't worry.
Oh, thank
you. But yeah, some of that stuff is horrible. When you go to sit and play, and you're like, what? But a lot of it, you go back and go, oh, actually, why don't I play it like this, like a guitarist would play, and stop stressing so much?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, that's fine. And so yeah, on Drifters Go, it's the same on a lot of modern musicals. I'd say it's the same sort of thing where you kind of you get your guide and you go off and you put your own thing on it. So you can put a little fill in here, you can do that, which makes it fun, and it means that you're more confident with it. But then I did one over Christmas. What was it? Kips, which was half a sixpence. So that's but a lot of that is very specific parts. So you sort of go in being like, oh, this will be okay. And then you sit there and you're like, oh no, that's actually a unison or a harmony line with this instrument or that instrument. Yeah. You're like, oh shit, I've actually got to play it like it says now. And then you're like, oh good, okay, fair enough. But yeah, I mean that's rarer, I think.
Yeah.
I did like School of Rock at the end of last year, and that's by the end of the week on that, 'cause it's just an Amdram thing, but it was really good.
Yeah.
We had 3 guitars on that, which was great fun.
Nice.
One of my students actually played guitar 3. It was his first pit thing, so that was quite nice. And by the end of it was like playing out, which is great. But that was ridiculous. You're putting in like stupid dive bombs and pick scrapes and all this other stuff. Like, right. And the MD's like, yeah, more. You're like, okay, I'll do that. Yeah, fantastic. But yeah, that show stuff it's a weird one because again, like I wish I'd known that you don't have to play what it says or exactly what it says.
Yeah.
To be able to do this stuff. Because it makes it feel like it's harder than it is. I mean, it is hard because you've got to follow, you've got to count, you've got to concentrate. But we have to do that anyway.
Yeah.
But that added stress of having some dots on a page, and as guitarists, we're not. I'd say that most of us aren't. We're not the best readers as far as musicians go. But just having that knowledge that you can play it like this, in that sort of a thing. Sometimes you put a marking in a part that's like John Mayer-esque or Stevie Ray Vaughan-esque. And you're just like, okay, right, well, I'll just dig in and do it sort of like that. And it makes it better because you're playing it like you would play it. And that's, not just like it says, because you feel so restricted in the part otherwise.
Yes. And so you touched on reading. So what's your reading like?
It's all right, I think. Yeah, I mean, you can put charts in front of me and I'll read them. I mean, I'm not like my girlfriend is a musician as well, and she plays woodwind stuff, and she conducts, and she plays piano. Like it's not that standard.
Yeah,
I've seen her put music in front of her and just go off and play. Hence, that's the piano behind me. I don't play piano.
Okay.
And it's crazy good, and you're like, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But as far as guitarists go, I think I can. I think I'm all right. I mean, in terms of my career, I would say that the majority of stuff I've done is because I can follow charts, because I can read to a level. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I'm probably quite reliable and stuff as well, which is why I've got work. But I mean, it sort of starts off like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the whole kind of reading and show thing was accidental, to be honest with you. I was at BIM in Brighton when it sort of first opened.
Okay.
And I was in my second year, I think. And the guy I was living with, he's a keys player, a guy called Jules Pareca. I don't know if you've ever met Jules, but no, he's wonderful musician and a good friend of mine actually. So we lived together. And he's like, "Oh, John, you read a little bit, don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, we need a guitarist for this big musical spectacular thing that they were doing at the Brighton Dome or something." So he sort of got me in on that, and a lot of that was sight reading to a point. A lot of it was charts and stuff, and then you sort of do an all right job, and then some of the guys there are MDs and they recommend you for this, and then you get more and more, and it sort of just snowballed from there, really.
Yeah.
But I never kind of aspired to be doing loads of musical stuff and loads of pit work. I mean, I don't do loads of it, really. I mean, I do a fair bit of it, but it's not like the only thing that I do. I mean, the thing that I wanted to do is what we all wanted to do. I wanted to, be in a rock band and tour the world and do all that stuff. But I mean, it doesn't quite pan out like that all the time. But I mean, if as far as I'm concerned, if you're doing something and it's making you money as a professional musician, and that's a good thing. So keep doing it, right? Absolutely, and it is enjoyable.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reading thing it's a weird one because, I mean, if you're going to sight read something, my advice to you is the best advice about practicing sight reading is don't sight read. Like if you can get stuff in advance, get it in advance.
Yeah, I mean, all the shows that I've got in advance. So
yeah, and that's correct as well.
I wouldn't want to just sit down on day one and go, "There's your dots and 5, 6, 7, 8."
Yeah, I mean that does happen sometimes. Sometimes that's just the only way that it goes, and it's that thing of being prepared to do that. And a lot of the time, you can sit there and you can get through it. And if it's a band call or something, the chances are you're not going to do the band call and then the show on the same day. Sometimes it happens. If it's a one-day thing, that will happen.
Yeah.
But that's where the interpretation thing comes in. They're not. I did something for one of the schools that I teach in. Actually, they did this big musical thing, and they got a load of the pros in to come and play along with the students. And there was some stuff but at the end of each section, there was a little bit which was like, okay, you can see that is there every time, so I'll put that in.
Yeah. It's like a cue for everybody else.
Yeah, it's just that's the little bit that needs to be. But no one's going to sit there and listen to every single note that you're playing and be like, oh, in bar 72, you played the wrong note here. It doesn't really work like that.
Although I've known MDs to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I
think they're far and few between.
Yeah, it does happen, but I mean, if it's a clanger, but like if you're playing an F chord and you're playing the notes of an F chord, I don't think anyone's necessarily, unless it is in harmony with someone else or in unison with someone else, be like, that note was wrong. They're just hearing that it's a chord and it's the right notes from a chord.
Yeah.
So it's more supporting than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So what other shows... what other shows have you got onto?
So stuff
for this year?
For this year, like I said, I'm doing the Temptations thing. I'm doing like a couple of disco shows. I do some ABBA shows for my sins. Sometimes they even get me to dress up and do the
I've done that. It's just funny. I was just talking to my wife about. We're watching an episode of The Office, and there's one episode where Dwight peroxide blonde bleaches his hair, and he's on screen. My wife said, "It's like when you did the ABBA gig." I was like, "Oh fuck!"
You know what? That's like,
don't remind me.
That ABBA thing. I mean, I love playing ABBA stuff. It's great. It's really well written, and
the music
is
amazing.
Such a good play. Such a good play. But the thing is, so I've sort of depped on this. It's called Mania, the show, and I depped for a guy called Anders Rye. I don't know if you know Anders. Anders is great. I've known him for many, many years. But again, we were both doing guitar on a tour of this show called Don't Stop Believing, which was do you remember when Glee came out, like many years ago? It was kind of like it was that in every way, apart from the fact they couldn't call it Glee.
Yeah.
So all the characters dressed up like the characters, and everything else. So they sort of did it like that. But Anders that's his gig, and he sort of depped me in a few times to do it, and I really enjoy it. And there was this one show, and it was the week of the show. And I think it was in Stockport. I know it was in Stockport because I remember having to wear the costume in the Stockport Plaza. So I got a phone call. I think the show was on Friday, and I think it was the Tuesday. I think it was a Tuesday or the Wednesday, and I saw the producer was calling me, and I sort of looked at my phone, and I was like, "Fuck, okay, all right, let's see. So what's going on?" I was like, "All right." She's like, "Oh, hi, blah blah blah. We've got a bit of a problem." I was like, "Right, go on." And she was giving all this spiel about how they've been let down. I was like, just ask.
Just tell me.
Just ask. Just do it. Just do it. Just ask. And she's like, "And you know that you're playing guitar, and we were wondering if you could." I was like, "Yeah, fine, it's all right." And then she was like, bless her, she was like, "Have you got time to do the choreography?" I was like, "Absolutely not. Like, not a chance." I was like, "I've never worn fucking platform shoes." So, like, and when I did put them on, I struggled enough changing patches and walking in them, let alone putting in dance moves and stuff like that. But I mean, and that was the kind of the start of doing that. But that's the thing as well. I know it's, you're dressing up and it's silly and stuff like that. It still work though.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's fun. It's a fun show. I mean, it took me we went to Tbilisi in Georgia over New Year for some of the ABBA shows where I was playing Bjorn and stuff. It's like a 4-piece thing. You get these opportunities that you would never, ever, ever get.
Yeah.
Unless you sort of, you kind of put away the ego and go, "You know what, I am going to dress up like a bit of a tit."
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because it's, it's fun and you get to travel about and you get to do some cool things you wouldn't have done otherwise. So again, it's not being so up yourself to say no to something because you have to wear a silly costume. I mean, you look like enough of a dickhead on stage anyway, so you might as well put a wig on, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I always found, putting those platforms on, trying to move around, change pedals and stuff. And you got to play and sing. It was like, there was a couple of moments where the ankle goes and you're like, whoa. And I think I did it. I did an ABBA show for nearly 2 years. And after about a year, I said to them, I can't wear the platforms. I'll wear flat feet.
Yeah.
Or flat shoes. And they were like, "All right, okay." And then after about another year, I just went, "I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. I can't."
Yeah.
The thing is, bless them, is they were the kind of shows that they were doing. They were doing like golf clubs, retirement villages. I was like, "Oh, no." And when she'd kind of sold it to me, it's like, "Yeah, we're doing some of the big festivals. We're going to be doing not arena tours, but theatre tours."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, okay, well that sounds cool." And like we did one theatre, I think, and one festival in 2 years. So no.
Yeah, sometimes you do just have to kind of, if there's a gig or something or a show that you're not looking forward to, that you get the phone call, you get the message, or get the email, and you're free, and you're like, "Oh, I suppose I should say yes to it, but I don't really want to." Sometimes you do actually have to just say no to things.
It's difficult though.
It is difficult, and I mean it's quite ironic because I've worked for the last sort of 2 weeks solidly, and I think my next day off is like the 30th of March. It's just solid all the way through. Okay. So I mean, but that happens sometimes, and I know it is ironic that I've said, "Oh, you've got to say no to something," and I've said yes to absolutely everything.
Yeah.
But all the stuff that I do, I enjoy doing now. There were times when there was like, you do a gig and you're like, I'm really not enjoying this, but I'm doing it for the money.
Yeah.
And that's not, you sort of lose sight as to why you picked it up in the first place.
Yeah, you can do.
Yeah. I've kind of developed this mentality that because you do the kind of long drives and the late nights and stuff, for your kind of 2 or 3 hours of playing, and I've changed my mindset to be like, I'm not getting paid for the playing bit. The playing bit is free. I do that for fun because it is fun.
Yeah.
It's all the shit that goes with it. It's the sitting in the car for 5 hours or
service stations.
Oh yeah, everyone's like, oh, you tour.
Ginsters.
It must be. You must see so many great sights. It's like, I see the inside of my car, a service station, and a fucking Weatherspoons. Like, that's it. Like, you go to all these places and you're like, right, where's the closest spoons for the cheapest hot food?
Yeah.
And then you're in the theatre and then you do the show and you're not going to hang around. You're back in the car and back to London or wherever you are.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I kind of made a thing where if I was doing a stayover show, and if I could, because I do quite a lot of go-karting, I'll find a local go-kart track.
See, that's cool.
And do a little practice session and then come home or go to the next gig or whatever. And that kind of just gives me something to look for, or something else to look forward to. It's not just the car, the drive, the service station, the motorway. Oh, look, we're in Scotland.
Yeah. It's only taken 7 hours. Yeah, it's fucking. God, don't. I once did a drive from London to Edinburgh, and it took me like 9.5 hours.
Yeah,
and I was like, why am I doing this? I had 2 people in the car with me, 2 cast members from this show many years ago, and within an hour, both of them were asleep in the car. Yeah. And I'm like, this is not how this is supposed to work. This is not. But but then you feel like a bit of a twat if you're like, can you wake up, please?
I'm bored.
Yeah, exactly. But that's literally why they're there. So
yeah, I did something similar. I had to go to Glasgow, but I was on my own, and it was just it was horrendous. Like when you get into Scotland, I think from Scotland, the border of Scotland to Glasgow, I think it's still like another 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fuck.
It's horrible, isn't it? You're like, we're nearly there. And you look at the sat nav, you're like, we're not. We're really not nearly there at all. We've just got into the country. So,
But
it's horrible.
I mean, is the stories we tell after it when we get home.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did the drive. Did you have to take the ferry over to Northern Ireland? Yeah, we did that. It was we missed it. But I think those things, that's kind of where these kind of little stories.
Oh, absolutely. But that's the thing. You can sit and go loads of stories about various things with various people and how such and such did this and that, etc., etc. It's great. It's good fun. I mean, at the time, you're like, this is horrible. Yeah. This is awful. And you're like, I remember I was driving up the M1, and then, which you say right up until you get on stage and you're playing, like, oh, this is good fun. Actually, I'm really enjoying myself. Yeah. And then you do the drive home. I'm not fucking doing this anymore. But then it gets to the next week and you do exactly the same thing again. But you just have to have this kind of, I'm being paid to get there and to get home. The bit in the middle
is free.
But just the sound check bit is all. I also get paid for that, I think. So because they can be hellish.
They can be. Do you prefer driving there or driving?
I prefer driving home, but it's always harder.
Yeah,
because you're tired.
Yeah,
driving home is, if I have the choice to go home, I will go home because it's my bed and it's my place. And you will just sleep better. But I mean, it's the driving there is good because you're fresh. Well, not good. It's better because you're fresh. But the driving home bit is, you're kind of.
It is harder. I prefer the drive home. It's usually really quiet. I can stick on a podcast or something, and I've got 2, 3, maybe. Whatever, 2-3 hours, just sit and kind of
which is like fine. But
you get
now
into this little zone of just driving, just drive.
Yeah, which is fine. But they seem to now only ever shut roads at night when I'm on the roads that I need to be on.
Yeah.
So we were doing a drive the other day. Actually, me and the drummer coming back from York on Monday, and we had to go on either the A1 or the M1. And they shut the M1 and then immediately shut the A1 after it. And it's like, so you've shut both of those roads. And then they shut another, and there's another diversion, another thing. And then it's like, right. That's every single road is closed. Yeah, and I've had it before. I've driven and, they shut the M1 and then they shut the M25, and then I get to the Blackwall Tunnel because I live very, very close to the Blackwall Tunnel, about 15 minutes from there. And my sat nav was saying I'll be home in 10 minutes. And they shut the Blackwall Tunnel. So I had to come off 10 minutes from home and go through Rotherhithe, and it's another like half an hour, 40 minutes. And you're just like... So the drive home is good because home's at the end of it. But it seems like you always get that shit. And you're like, I just want to be at home. Please let me go home.
No, I feel you on that. It's shit when that happens. So what's your practicing like?
A lot of the stuff, I don't really class it necessarily as practice now. It's more just playing stuff. Not necessarily through choice. It's just hard to find the time to sit and practice. But I mean, when I do practice in inverted commas, it's more kind of, trying to kind of look at ways that I can, if it's a soloing thing, I've sort of got this like triad approach where I try triads for each of the chords when I'm soloing, which I think a lot of people do. So trying to kind of smooth that out and stuff, but it's all kind of in relation to the songs that I've got to play, rather than necessarily like over lockdown, for example, because all I had was time. Like I sat there and I was like learning like stuff from Eat 'Em and Smile. I mean, I look at videos of me playing and I'm like, how the fuck did I do that, man? That was amazing. Stuff that I just wanted to learn for years, but all I had was time. So I sat and did it, and that was great. But the thing is, like, a lot of it was when I was younger, I would sit with a metronome and you do the thing that everyone tells you to do, right? Where you, you start it slowly and you gradually build it up, and it doesn't fucking work. Well, I mean, it does to a degree, but it's not the right way to do it.
So what's the right way to do it?
The right way to do it for me is, firstly, and this is where people go wrong, and I think this is where I got it wrong initially, because I was told to do this at music college, and I wish I'd listened and understood the concept better. A guy called Jim Clark, who's a fantastic, fantastic guitar player and a really good friend and a wonderful teacher as well, was teaching me at BIM, and he did say this, but I got the first bit wrong. The first bit was I didn't actually learn the stuff properly. So you've got to do the slow learning of it so that it becomes natural to that point. But then it's about just playing it as quickly as you can, right? And
with all the fuck ups,
but you still got to be able to play it,
right?
So it's going to be a little bit rough around the edges, but that's but then you will hone it, and it will get better. The more you do it, your accuracy will improve as well as your speed. And it's like interval training, like you just like sprints. So you do little bursts of things. So you do like a bar at, whatever tempo, and then rest, and then do it again, and and you just it's the same. And he likened it to like sprinting and stuff like that. So like if you want to get faster at sprinting, you don't jog, because your body does a different thing, and you go into a different mode. And you watch like all these old kind of, what's it like, the Starlicks and whatever videos,
Hotlicks.
That's it. And you see people demonstrating something, like Vinnie Moore or something would demonstrate something with one technique, and then he goes to play it fast and it completely changes. But they're not aware that happened. But so your body does something completely different when you play. So it's about kind of just trying to get that. And that I made some good breakthroughs with that. That kind of worked really nicely for me. And a lot of it, sometimes you just, they kind of were drilled this whole, like, you must use a metronome, you must use a metronome, you don't have to. You don't have to religiously use a metronome all the time. It's good for getting like a kind of a benchmark to how quickly you're doing something. But at the end of the day, it's not about how fast you can play. I mean, I've never got any work from being able to play quickly. But all we practice really is how fast we can play, and it's no one gives a shit. Like, if you sat there doing something, you pull out this ridiculous lick, people are like, why have you played that? That's really inappropriate for what you're doing. But I mean, every now and again, if you're on a function or something like that, you get to actually, just
fuck it, I'm doing.
You can just do whatever you want to do, some stupid tapping and some sweeping and stuff like that. And everyone's like, that's cool, all right, fair enough. But if, and it goes back to what I was saying before, the work I'm doing at the minute, if you're doing like stuff in a pit. You're not going to bust out your quintuplet legato lines in the middle of it. You're like, well, why is that there?
Yeah.
But again, I still practice stuff like that. I still do those runs and stuff like that because it's good to have it there. I think it's like having your kind of, your car can only go at 70 miles an hour, right? But it's good to know that you've got some stuff in reserve.
Yeah.
So,
well, we say that because on Legally Blonde, there is right on I can't remember the tune, and it comes out twice. It's one, I think, it's on the exit music, or one's on the bows. There are 4, and I'm sweeping them, 4 arpeggios.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, there you go. There's a great example of when you need something like that in your arsenal.
But that's the thing, though. Sometimes you don't know when you're going to need it, so it's worth having it there.
Yeah.
Definitely. But excuse me, but you don't need to obsess over it. It shouldn't be all you practice. A lot of the stuff that I do now, and I don't really class it as practicing. It's more kind of noodling around. But it's melodic stuff. It's trying to make things sound nice and melodic and get some cool ideas kind of coming out that way. And that's made me a better player. Definitely.
Do you think that approach has happened as you've gotten older and you've realised that no one's asking me to do the
100%.
People want me just to play something really nice, really simple, sit over the chords. Can you follow the changes?
100%. It is exactly that. It's a maturity thing.
Yeah.
More than anything else. And I wish I'd known it when I was younger. Or maybe I did know it, but I just didn't listen. I wish I'd listened a bit more when I was younger to people who were older, who were sat there.
But the trouble is, when you're younger, you're like, I know it all already.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you know? You're 40, 50-year-old man. What do you know?
That's
I'm 22.
it.
I'm out gigging every other weekend.
I'm doing this. I know what people want. I'll do this, and then it happens. Yeah, it will happen to you. You'll get older and then suddenly be like, oh yeah, but this is what people really want.
Yeah,
this is why people, this is why this guy's getting the gigs, and it is a maturity thing. So knowing when to play stuff, and more importantly, when not to play things.
Yeah,
because you can overplay very, very easily as well, and we all do. So
the trouble is we don't need to take a breath. We can just keep going.
Absolutely.
It's
a phrasing thing.
They've got to take a breath. Singers got to take a breath.
Absolutely.
So one of my old teachers told me just to sing everything you play, and then when you take a breath, you got to stop.
Yeah.
So you got to make all your phrases fit within your breath.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a good tip to have.
Yeah.
Or like if you get kind of short on ideas, if you're soloing, just to think of a completely random song and sing the melody line of the song in your head, but play notes from the scale that you're currently in. Or the lick that you know, but play it with a different rhythm that's come from. It's a good way of thinking of it because it keeps stuff fresh as well.
Yeah, I remember when I was I've gone.
No, that's it.
I was saying when I was at college, we did. Do you know the guitar player Andy Jones?
Yes. Yeah.
Monster player. But anyway, he stepped in for one of our session styles lessons, and there was a really simple, like, I think it was a Robin Ford lick, and he said, "Look, here's the lick, and it'll take you 10, 15 minutes to learn the lick. What you want to do with it then, you want to make sure that you bank it if you like it. Forget it if you don't like it. There's no point learning something if you don't like it.
Yeah, of course.
But if you like it, you bank it. And then what you do is you're going to then take the 2 notes that sit in the middle and just turn them round. And then you've got another lick.
Yeah.
Then take the outer 2, turn those round. Then you take the first 3, turn them round. Take the last 3, turn them round. Just start because it's the same set of notes over the same chord. So just start moving the fucking things around.
Yeah. That's true. It's good. Yeah.
You'll get 10, 15, maybe even 20 licks out of this one lick. Now start playing it in triplets. Now start playing it in quavers. Now start playing it in crotches. Now start playing it. He said, you've taken one lick and you've now got 100 licks.
But it's vocabulary, though, isn't it?
It's
the same way as and this is what I say to my students. I'm like, you haven't got any vocabulary because you've learned this and this and this, but you've not banked it properly.
Yeah.
And it's the same way that you speak. Right, we can say the same thing in loads of different ways. And we can say that, and we can imply different things in the same, with the same sentence. and stuff like that. But it's all about how you present it. So, and the way that we all learned to talk was by copying sounds.
Yeah.
And then you learn what they mean and what you can do with them and what you can't do with them, etc., etc. So, take the lick if you like it. If you don't like it, then why are you learning it? Again, you have to kind of do that. Know why you're learning stuff as well. Ask the question: why am I learning this? Have an end goal? Because
People
which
on
means
the
as a
internet
byproduct,
told you had to.
Yeah, it was on the syllabus or something like that, and I've never used it, and I've promptly forgotten it because I never sort of said, "Well, why have I got to do it?" Or you've got to do it because the list says you've got to do it. And I mean, I've been working professionally since I don't even know when it was, 2005. So that's I was in my second year of music college. Second year, so 2004, 2005 I think it was.
So if you were at BIM then, were you with Carlos as well?
Carlos was in the year before me, yeah.
Okay.
Carlos and Rachel Wood. Don't know if you know Rachel. She's a fantastic player as well.
Rachel, did she go off and do Cirque du Soleil?
Yes.
Yeah, she used to write for Guitarist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Rachel and Carlos were the year before me. So they were 03, I think. Okay. And I was there 04 with Ricky.
Okay.
So, so I've been sort of working since the end of my second year? Well, it was a long time ago. But I've not used any of these things that were in the book since
superimposed minor pentatonic scales over...
I mean, you kind of do them sometimes, but it's, a lot of it's like you just waste so much time doing stuff, and if you don't like it, even if you've learned it, when you get to the gig, you're not going to play it. Because it's not. It needs to feel natural. You need to be able to hear it and like the sound of it, for it to come out in your playing naturally.
Yeah.
So that's a tip. Is it you like the stuff that you're practicing? So that it makes your practice sessions rewarding because you're doing stuff you like, rather than just doing things that you think you need to learn, you think you should learn.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things that the concepts that I think every guitar player needs to learn.
Go on, run us through those. What do you think?
The thing that really fucks me off about guitarists is we're fucking lazy with shit, man. Like really lazy. And I'm going to sound like an angry old man now, which to a degree I am. Is that nowadays? There you go. There's the word. Like nowadays, straight away.
Like these days,
it's like people get spoon-fed stuff. So like you see, like the amount of like tab books, which is fine. Tab's fine to a degree, right? Yeah. Absolutely fine. All right, and I'll come back to the tab stuff in a minute. But you get all these YouTube videos, and the thing they're playing is highlighted as it goes along, so they just follow what the numbers say on the. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. And going back to the tab thing, as a musician, and this is the thing, guitarists need to think like musicians, not guitar players.
Yeah.
Because you go and you try and communicate with another musician, they ask you what you're playing, and you say 4. Playing fret 4. Like, what the fuck is that? It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Right. So it's actually having some knowledge of stuff and knowing your notes.
Think you're on the 4 chord.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. If someone says to you, play 1 6 4 5, and you play fret 1, it's like, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I've had that with students in the past where they just don't know what they're doing. And the thing is, when I first started, because I started playing when I was 15. I played trumpet before, so I had a bit of musicianship about me. But started playing. I got a guitar for my 15th birthday and just basically didn't put it down.
Yeah.
But I didn't really learn all that stuff until later. And again, I wish I'd done it sooner because it does open up so many possibilities. I remember sitting in a rehearsal at music college with like 4 or 5 other musicians, and the keys player was saying, "Oh, can you just play those chords, but higher in versions of those chords?" And I'm like,
"What?
No, I can't."
Yeah.
And you're sat and you feel awful.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like you can't play. And then by the time it was the next rehearsal, I absolutely could do that.
Yeah.
But it's just little things like that, just actually being able to think as a musician. So when other musicians ask you to do stuff, or you're trying to convey something to another musician, you can do that, and you can have a back and forth.
You're talking that language.
Yeah, absolutely. And and that's the thing. That's the thing that recently has really annoyed me a lot. And when me and my girlfriend first got together, because she's like I said, she's a pro musician as well. She was saying, "Oh, like her mate was like, oh, I thought you hated guitar players," and she's like, oh, "Shut up now." But it was for that reason, because she's like, "Oh, it's like you get lots of people that will sit and play guitar, but they're not who claim to be professionals, but then there's a standard, and there's stuff that you should know, to be a professional, and like learning the notes on the fretboard. So many people, it's like if you ask any other instrumentalist what note are you playing, they'll go, oh, this one. If you stop a guitar player and they're like, what note? They're like, oh, I don't know. Yeah. How could you not know what you're doing? This is the thing. Actually know what you're doing at the time, really.
Yeah. If there was, if you had to do it all again, is there any, like you touched on, you wish you'd done this sooner? If if you had to do it all again, what would you do differently, or how would you do it differently?
How would I do it differently? I would... Well,
let's start with the what. What would you do differently?
What would I do differently is I wouldn't obsess so much about playing as fast as I physically can.
Yeah.
It's not about that. I mean, there's like I say, there's a time and a place for it, but it's not the be all and the end all. I wish I'd listened. When the teachers at music college had said, "Do this," or the teachers that you really liked their lessons, they'd said, "Do this," or listened properly, taken advice from people, not just guitar players. Listen to other musicians when they've asked you to do things, or when they've stuff like that. That's what I do differently.
Do you think there's anything that's not being taught either in schools or on YouTube channels no one's talking about that really needs to be spoken more about?
I don't know really, because the thing is I don't really watch YouTube videos of guitarists teaching stuff because it annoys me. There's a market for it and it's great, but it's not tailored to people. So you can't stop it and ask questions. Okay. I think that's the biggest thing that I would say is holding people back, is they think they don't need to get lessons.
Okay, yeah.
Is they will learn stuff from YouTube and they will get to a certain level.
Yeah.
But they haven't got all of this knowledge.
It's like looking through a picture. It's like looking at a picture through a piece of paper and you're just poking little holes.
It is absolutely that.
I can kind of see a little bit. I kind of got,
And you get these, you see people on Instagram and stuff playing phenomenally amazing things, but I'm not sure they could sit and do necessarily like a show or do a gig or do a function. Yeah. I don't think people practice rhythm guitar enough.
No, yeah.
I think rhythm guitar gets so pushed down the pecking order and stuff, and it shouldn't. It is arguably the most important thing that you're going to do.
Yeah.
So knowing your chords and your triads.
Yeah.
Because so much of the stuff that I do is, people go, "Oh, no, the bar chords." It's like, well, great, but you don't. There's too much. There's too many notes.
Yeah, you don't need all six.
You don't. You can just take a fragment and you just. That's it. So doing that, I think that needs to get pushed a bit more, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I think it's Joe Pass that said, guitar players spend 80% of their practice running lines, but 80% of their gigs playing chords.
Absolutely. Yeah, if not more.
Backwards. Yeah.
If not more, it's like on this. Yes, on so many shows that I do, you'll get a solo or two solos, but for the remaining 2 hours, you're doing rhythm stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the thing.
How fun is it comping chords?
Oh, it's great. It's so
lovely.
much fun. It's so
like
much fun.
Brown Eyed Girl. How many different ways can I play G, C, and D?
Yeah, but then you do things, you play in sixths, and you do that, and you do that. So that stuff, that kind of, that's what I do teach.
Yeah,
is trying to change the people's perception of what they need to play. Try and play through like chart reading or chart playing. If you're serious about doing this professionally, learn how to read a chart and how to make it sound good. Is advice, is some good advice, I'd say.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really get taught. Certainly not on YouTube. No one's going on about chart reading and stuff.
No.
But I guess 90, if not more, 90% of my playing is reading through charts and playing through charts.
Yeah.
And so something else that I would say as well, actually, that I sort of picked up on today when I was teaching, was when you do learn this kind of theory stuff, don't switch off your ears. And I did that. I stopped listening and started just thinking, I need to do this and do this, rather than having a combination of the both.
Yeah.
And you see that happen with people, and I'm sure it happened to me. You stop using the two things on the side of your head to be like, it sounds good, and you start trying to think about things too much.
Yeah.
You know, I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. Yeah, just listen.
Yeah, well, one other thing, I had lessons with a guy called Mike Goodman.
Yep.
You know Mike? When we were at the ACM, again, he was saying things like, he would say this is like exactly the same things. He's like, if you're playing things, you're on a gig, you're on a function, you're on a session, the first thing you go to is your ears. And if you're playing something and it sounds good, who gives a fuck what it is? So you just keep saying, what you want to do is when you start playing something and it's like, that sounds shit. And I'm always making that over okay, let's have a look. So what chord is that? Right, okay. So that's a secondary dominant. So I need to be playing a G sharp 7 over that, not a G sharp minor. Okay.
Yeah.
That, and he said, you make your theory work for you. You don't work for your theory.
So I know when it started to, I think getting older again. Difference. I think it is. It's a maturity thing.
Yeah.
And then suddenly like, oh yeah, I did get, someone told me how to do that 15 years ago. I didn't fucking listen to them. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I'm going to talk about just before I let you go is, what's your take on getting better as a musician today?
Getting better as a musician.
Yeah. Or as a player, or even as a person. Just getting better. What does it mean to you?
I think something that makes you better as a person, or better as a musician, or is just having fun with the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah.
If you think about the stuff that musicians do, we can get put in some really shit situations, in some really shit places.
Yeah.
And if you're surrounded by miserable people all the time, you're going to make yourself miserable, and it's going to make it's going to make the gig bad because you don't want to be there. Whereas if you're surrounded by people that are bright and happy and fun and energetic, it doesn't fucking matter where you are. You'll laugh and joke about it, and everyone will have a lovely time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that, and I did a lot of that when I was younger, was being miserable about me being in a shit scenario. And what's made me better, I think, or one of the things that's made me better, is trying to be happy, or actually just friendly as it is. I'm sure some people will disagree with that. But yeah, just having fun and just being nice to be around, I think, and just having a lovely time with lovely people. Because for the most part, musicians are lovely people. Yeah. We're all doing the same thing. We're all doing the same job. We're all there to make music happen, which is quite lovely, really. It's quite a marvellous thing. It's very privileged and very lucky to be able to do that, and people want to hear it, and they'll spend their money to come out and listen to it happening, and be happy that you're bringing happiness to people.
Yeah, I don't think that's appreciated by enough musicians, is that people are paying money to come out and see you. And I think a lot of people take the piss with things like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right down to things like getting too drunk, going out on stage.
That fucks me off. I have done it before, but it fucks me off when people do that. You're doing a job. No other job would you think it was acceptable to rock up to work hammered. Yeah. It's just not. It just doesn't. It's not okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think that's something that needs to be valued by musicians.
Yeah, So be happy with what you do. If you're not happy doing it, you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So take work that makes you happy, and then you will play better as a result, and that will make you better. I think.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And I think it makes a difference who you're out with and who you're playing with. We've all turned up to gigs, and not necessarily the whole band, but I've walked up and we're like, oh shit, he's on the gig. Oh,
I
hate this guy. Oh, fuck. Yeah, sometimes those kinds of things are unavoidable.
But... I know. I'm sure that every musician, when they see that I'm on the gig, thinks that. So, fucking hell, John's on it, right?
I doubt it.
Fucking hell.
Listen, John, mate, it was a pleasure having you on. It was really lovely.
Yeah, I've had lots of fun. It's been great. Thank you very much for asking.
Chatting to you, talking shop, and we will speak soon.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.